All right. This is for my Cowboy family. All right. So, obviously, we took a bad loss to the other rival dynasty that has 5 Super Bowls along with us, the San Francisco 49ers. We took this loss hosting the wild card game. And on that Sunday, we were the only home team to lose. Go figure. That right there is a insult to the season. But everything inside of what happened was atrocious. Honestly, when I found out that the 49ers had gotten into the playoffs, and even before, I got a buddy, he works with me. He's a 49er fan. And he was talking about, hey, you know what? We might have a shot to get into the playoffs. And I thought about it. I turned and I looked at him and I said, you know what? That's the only team I don't want to play. The 49ers. Yeah, we got a history and all that, and it's all glorious, but I don't want to play the 49ers for the simple fact that they can mimic what the Denver Broncos did to us, and they can mimic what the LA Rams did to us in the playoffs, and that is run the ball down our throats. So, it doesn't matter if it's Jason Garrett coaching the Cowboys, doesn't matter if it's Mike McCarthy coaching the Cowboys. All 3 of those games are similar. The outcome was not good. We could not control the opposing team's run game, first and foremost. But in this, for instance, we better control the score. The score wasn't out of hand. The defense kind of got it together during that second half. So therefore, that's why it was a close game. So the defense did show up. There was a difference. There was hope. But what is the primary weakness of the Dallas Cowboys is the offensive line. The offensive line is the heart of everything that is attached to, orbiting around the Dallas Cowboys planet. The offensive line is responsible, and it contributes to the quarterback having time to drop back, make decisions, make the proper reads, make the accurate throws without being under duress. The offensive line affects in a positive way when it opens up holes, blocks, and opens up holes for the running backs, for the skill players like Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Ezekiel Elliott was constantly met in the backfield. He never had a chance. Every time he touched the ball, it's like two opposing Niners just bowling through. There's no way Elliott is going to be productive. He's not like Barry Sanders, where he's going to juke east-west. Not like Emmitt Smith, juke east-west, and then get out of harm's way and make a seemingly stalled run into a positive. Ezekiel Elliott needs like 1.5 steps past that line of scrimmage, and then he can go downhill. Even with Tony Pollard, 4 carries, no traction. The comments on social media was that why was Tony Pollard only getting 4 carries? Kellen Moore does not manage the game in regards to running the ball. Sometimes that stuff looks too cute. And what's interesting about Kellen Moore's philosophy is that it is the exact opposite of Jason Garrett's philosophy. Jason Garrett would run the football and then pass. That was his philosophy. He was from that era. Obviously, he played under Jimmy Johnson, and that's how he coached. So that's an interesting thing, because now we have a pass happy offensive coordinator, and we're looking at posing the question of why don't we do the Jason Garrett thing more often? And when we had Jason Garrett, we were like, why don't we do the pass more often? Henceforth, the Kellen Moore thing, as we moved on from Jason Garrett to Kellen Moore. And now us Cowboy fans are whining that we need more Jason Garrett. So here's the common thing from one coaching regime to the next coaching regime, from Garrett to McCarthy. I know some of y'all don't remember Jimmy Johnson. Well, it was Jimmy Johnson to Barry Switzer. And McCarthy is like the new Barry Switzer. He's just in the middle of the operation, looking around with a question mark. What's going on? That's how Barry Switzer was. And eventually, the difference between Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson, and the discipline that Jimmy Johnson ran the Cowboys with and that Troy Aikman adhered to, was gone in Barry Switzer, who was too lax and wasn't a taskmaster. And Troy Aikman took issue with Barry Switzer for that reason. And the Cowboys declined after the year Barry Switzer took over, won the Super Bowl the following year after Jimmy Johnson had departed, and it was downhill from that point on. Losing to the Arizona Cardinals in the playoffs, if I remember. But now let's get back to this. Let's get back to this. McCarthy is the new Barry Switzer. Jason Garrett, let's say a poor man's Jimmy Johnson. But we as Cowboy fans, and hopefully the Cowboys organization and ownership, will not panic after this playoff game. We do not need to fire the head coach, Mike McCarthy. We should hopefully hold on to Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn. We should hold on to all our skilled players. I hear some people say, well, we need to get rid of Zeke. Zeke is a tremendous blocker. I believe I seen Zeke knock down 2 guys, or 1 guy pancake. I mean, the guy's a tremendous blocker, and that's what we need, because the offensive line is abysmal. So, let's just talk about the offensive line. Let's get to that. The offensive line affects everything. Once again, it affects the running back, the quarterback, the wide receivers, and then it goes beyond that. The offensive line's production keeps the offense on the field. It grinds down the defense. Can have the defense gasping for air if you do Cowboys football, and that's run it. Run the ball down the field, take up time, chew up clock, keep the opposing defense on the field and have them tired. That keeps the opposing offense cold on the bench. That keeps your defense rested and only having to come in and do a partial job of 3-and-out or turnovers. And then it's back to the offense grinding everything out. The offensive line helps the defensive coaching. It helps the offensive coaching. So the offensive line is the heart and soul of everything. I understand, some people or a lot of people adhere to defense being the heart and soul of the football team. But a defense can be great and it can get you the ball back. But hey, but defenses are made to get on and off the field. There's a difference with that. Defenses are made to get on and off the field, not stay on the field. So offenses are made to, if you're not a fast-paced offense and you're not trying to score up and down the field, it's made to grind out. So a good offense is the one that should stay on the field as opposed to a good defense. And this offensive line is hindering every facet of the Dallas Cowboys. It is trickling outward, rippling outward to bad decision making all the way around the perimeters of the offensive line. And it's hard to look at it. And even Kellen Moore, people are saying, oh, Kellen Moore, he's not calling run plays. He's running plays that are straightforward. He's not running trap plays and shifting the line. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, Kellen Moore may be onto something. Maybe this line is just not capable of doing that. Maybe the line is not capable of moving effectively side to side. Maybe Kellen Moore understands the deficiency that we all see in this offensive line, and thus he is forced to call pass plays, gadget plays, and that's the situation he's in. He went from the beginning of the season being too hot to trot, you know what I'm saying? He was on, and then it all bogged down. Tyrone Smith in and out of the lineup, banged up. So, doesn't help Zeke's productivity, Tony Pollard's productivity, Dak Prescott's productivity, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. You got issues, man, your hands. And Cedric Wilson. Now, obviously, on the defense is stellar, but the Dallas Cowboys defense is not meant to or not built to be on the field for prolonged moments of time. Because if they're on the field for prolonged moments of time, it's usually because people are not attacking the defense. Opposing teams are not attacking the defense from a pass perspective because you got ball hawks back there. But they're running the ball. And that's where the situation must be that the Dallas Cowboys, in the middle of the defense, the tackles, are not bullish enough to knock the offensive line back and get into the backfield to attack the runner. Now on the peripheral, the defensive ends, DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory, are exceptional at rushing the passer, and Michael Parsons, exceptional at rushing the passer. So the Achilles heel comes into the middle of that defensive line. So The Denver Broncos exploited that. The 49ers exploited that. And that's the Achilles heel. But in the case with the 49ers, they only scored 23 points. So the defense, regardless of its weakness, did its job. The skill players, quarterback, wide receivers, running backs, tight end, they could have did a better job if the offensive line wasn't part of 14 pre-snap penalties. 2 false starts. I believe it was like maybe 3rd and 4, and then you got 2 false starts, and it's 3rd and 24 now. So I'm going to conclude this, and I'm going to wind this long-winded commentary down by saying, don't panic, Cowboy fans. We need to keep everything in place. I understand Mike McCarthy's. I understand the criticism leveled against Mike McCarthy and his clock management. But understand this. Where were the Cowboys at before Mike McCarthy came? It was after Jason Garrett had left the building. Big question mark on the Dallas Cowboys. And Mike McCarthy came first season. And I believe that was marked by the Dak Prescott injury. And so Mike McCarthy guided the Cowboys to I can't even remember what the record was last season. But let's just say 500. Let's just say 500. And the next year, we're at 12-5. So, even though we criticize Mike McCarthy, for some reason, somehow, the Cowboys won their division. And we're in the hunt. We wound up at the 3rd seed, but we were in the hunt for the 2nd and in hunt for the 1st seed. So, somehow this got done. We criticized Mike McCarthy. We criticized Kellen Moore. We've, in a little partial way, criticized Dan Quinn. We heavily criticized Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. So, something has to have gone right inside this organization. Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl coach. So, the value of saying Super Bowl coach should not digress in its worth. Bill Parcells came in as a Super Bowl coach. Super Bowl winning head coach. And he got all the accolades coming into the building when he coached the Dallas Cowboys. So Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning head coach. And mind you, what has Aaron Rodgers won since Mike McCarthy left? He only won 1 Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy. Now, granted, Aaron Rodgers is in position to now go for a 2nd Super Bowl, but the fact is, he hasn't done anything in regards to winning a Super Bowl since Mike McCarthy left. Mike McCarthy has navigated through not having his main quarterback the season before. And now, in this season, him and Dak Prescott exceeded all expectations. Nobody thought that the Cowboys would be in the position they are and were in when Dak Prescott severely injured his ankle. So now, let's talk about Dak Prescott for a second. Dak Prescott didn't have a stellar game. All these playoff games that Dak Prescott are in, except for the Seattle one, it has the same thing. His teammates don't show up. He doesn't have a stellar game. He has a somewhat off-kilter type of performance. It's only due to the fact that it looks like he's the only man standing. During the loss to the LA Rams, Dak Prescott had average numbers, no interceptions in that playoff loss. Same here, except now against the 49ers, he did have a interception, and his completions percentage was probably a little bit over 50%. So he wasn't stellar, but my God, 14 penalties by the offense? Who can survive that? So, hey, the man came off a severe injury. Nobody, there was questions of whether he was even going to be good enough to start. And he brought us this far. Mike McCarthy brought us this far. Zeke. Okay, bro. Zeke, you brought us this far. You got 1,000 yards rushing. You averaged 4 yards a carry. I swear to God, it don't look like you averaged 4 yards a carry. I mean, I would have probably guessed at 2.5 yards a carry. But you averaged 4 yards a carry, and 4.0 has always been a good standard for years and years as a running back. When you average 4 yards a carry, that means in 3 carries, you can get a first down with 2 more yards. 12 yards, over 10 yards, you have 2 yards left, or 2 yards over a first down. So Zeke was productive, not from the eye test, but just from the paper, from the mathematics on paper. He was productive. Tony Pollard was stellar. So what we lack is only in the personnel of the offensive line. And that's it. Everything else needs to come back, be in place. Even Mike McCarthy, for whatever he did, he managed this team. He delegated responsibilities to the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. How much responsibility he delegated compared to other coaches, I do not know, but somehow it worked. And if Dak Prescott, as you see, Dak Prescott was never really completely healthy until probably against maybe Philadelphia, the last game where he gingerly ran a quarterback. I wouldn't say option, but he scrambled as a quarterback. And then this last playoff game, he looked more assertive running. So I'm thinking Dak Prescott he has rehab, but continuing to get better health-wise next season will look even more stellar than what he has been this season. Zeke needs help from better offensive line. With better offensive line play, he can be even more productive. He might even get 1,200 yards rushing if we address that line. So, all right. This video is to say to all Cowboy fans, do not panic. Do not ask for, petition, yell, demand, scream for the firing of Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, Dan Quinn, Dak Prescott, wide receivers. Now, CeeDee Lamb, okay, bro, you got to catch them balls, all right? You dynamic. And let's see if we can get let's see if we can get Diggs in like we did Deion Sanders and give him some offensive wide receiver responsibilities. You know, add a wrinkle, add some fear into the opposing defense. Give Diggs some offensive snaps. You know, maybe 2 a game. Line him up on offense. So, all right. Like, comment, subscribe. And let's talk about Cowboys in the comment section. And next season should be exciting. I'm excited about next season. I am. The Cowboys are going to win their division again. Washington, no problem. Giants, no problem. Giants might be rebuilding. Who knows? Washington might be rebuilding. The Eagles can improve, but they're not going to improve enough to deal with the Cowboys. So we will win the division again. We need to concentrate on the particulars of the game, respect the game, and act like a well-coached team. So that's the improvement that Mike McCarthy is going to have to go through. And he's the one to do it. There's no other coach. You come bring him in, and then it's a new system, and it's all this and that. We have all the pieces. The only thing we need is to shore up that offensive line, and everything else will fall into place. All right. I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe.